Hello, everyone, and welcome to Business Spotlight. My name's Mark Hunter, and today I have Pete Henderson of Pisy. So, Pete, how you doing?
Hi, Mark. Thanks very much for the invite. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah,
It's a pleasure having you, Pete.
yeah,
Thank you very much for joining us. So I'd just like to get to know a little bit about you first, then, and our audience will as well. So, Pete, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and Pisy as well, please?
yeah. Well, I went to Aberdeen University and got a very mediocre science degree um, in the 80s, and I started working for a little offshore survey company. It was called at that time. It was called Oilfield Hydrographic Projects. So it doesn't exist anymore. It got absorbed into, I think, ultimately Subsea 7 or one of the big ones. But I was they used to call them computer programmers in those days. So we used to write computer programs for navigating the survey vessels and acquiring and processing the data. And in those days, there was no reliable internet. I don't think the internet was widely available at all in those days. So we actually had to go and work on the vessels themselves. So it was lots of tiny little survey boats all over the place, and we were sitting writing code. So it was great fun. It helped me to learn how to think on my feet and also to deal with the environment, which could occasionally be quite tricky. Um, in those days, health and safety wasn't so much of a priority. So we had let's just say we had lots of opportunities to learn about risk management. So, and I suppose out of that came just an interest in, you know, trying to help companies operate a little bit more safely. Um, one of the many regular downturns in the oil industry, it led me to become convinced that I could probably do something on my own. And I decided that the only way I was going to actually do it was to resign from my job first, and that would be the impetus that I needed to do that. So I did that and went freelance, and then out of that, Pisys was born, if you like, 1988. Um, we were actually called in the beginning. We were called Aardvark. That's two A's. Aardvark. That's important, by the way. I'll tell you that in a minute. Aardvark Software Consultants. And the reason we were called Aardvark was because my mate um, convinced me, and we had been in the pub for quite a while when he did convince me. But he said, "You want to be at the front of the yellow," and this is how long ago it was. It was when we had yellow pages. He said, "You'll be right at the front of the yellow pages with AA Aardvark." And what a magic idea, let's do that then. And then, of course, when we had called it Aardvark and got it registered and all the rest of it, we realized that there's companies like A1 taxis and, A2, and basically A and a number will get you in front of AA, which I feel is most unfair, but that's the way it is. But we lasted as Aardvark for a while, and then we gave in to popular pressure and general abuse from clients and staff. And I think about 1992, we changed to Pisys, which is arguably um, shorter, but maybe slightly more difficult to pronounce as well. So people get it wrong in many different ways. Um, so that's where we are. We are now 36, so we're middle aged just now. Got to make up our minds what we're doing when we grow up. So, and what Pisces do is we're a software development company. So we build and sell a range of software which helps clients to operate more safely and effectively. So anything from a permit to work system, which helps you control hazardous tasks, action trackers, right through to uh, incident management and risk management. We've also got an, what we call an immersive online training simulator that helps to train emergency response teams. Um, so we've basically focused on what we'd call software as a service products, and our clients are generally large blue chip companies based all over the world.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing. Um, it's such an incredible journey as well, that you've been on. But since Aardvark or now
hard work.
Pisces,
Yeah, yeah.
um, you know, 36 years in business, what's been the secret? No, it's probably more secrets because if you've been in business for that long, there's probably secrets. So what's been the secrets to success then?
I think, I mean, we were talking about this when we had our we always, myself and my business partner, we're pretty bad at remembering when our birthday is. So I remembered quite late in the day on the actual day of registration, which I believe was late February, and I had quickly sent out a team chat saying basically happy birthday to us, and the common I guess the common comment was stamina, you know, just just grind it out and just keep turning up. That's probably the we obviously like I suppose like any business you have ups and downs, and we've had a fair share of near death experiences as a business, but we had them quite a long time ago, and we've kind of got the hang of it now, I think. So yeah, but there isn't one thing. It's more of a mindset, I think, an attitude, and I do still remember I had a lovely Vauxhall Cavalier SRI. I can't exactly remember what year this was, but it was a lovely car, and we just couldn't afford the wages that month, so I had to go and sell it, and ended up with this really horrible. I walked out of the transaction with cash. I walked into a garage and I basically said, "Give me the cheapest car you've got," and I ended up with this Volvo something. It was absolutely awful, and it ended up breaking down just outside Keith, and we basically left it in a ditch, I think, somewhere. So, oh no, in fact, I'll tell you what happened. We sold it to Overton garage for 70 quid for scrap. I think that's what we. That was back in the days when the garages used to buy scrappies used to buy cars from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so just stuff like that. You just have to be prepared to you know
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
do whatever you need to do.
Yeah. What a story to share there, and for me, what I took from that is it's putting your people first. Obviously, it was far more important to make sure that your employees got paid, over your car. And
Yeah,
massive sacrifice, to sell your car for that to
yeah,
happen,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's not a unique scenario, but I mean, certainly, if you're the business owner, you generally you eat last, So, and that's the trade-off. You get the upside, but there's an expectation that you'll keep those who rely on you for their livelihood. They have to be they have to be front of the queue.
Uh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You also talked about mindset, and you you also just said, it's just simple, just show up every
Mm,
day and do your thing.
yeah.
Um, so what's your mindset like now compared to when it was at the beginning of that journey? And what have you sort of learned? And you probably
Yeah.
learned a lot in that time.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, in the early days, you kind of end up doing a bit of everything, and I would probably say I mean, we're a software development company, but I would say even at the beginning, when I was um, writing code, I was a mediocre programmer. So, but that was what we were doing. I was the only one that was doing it. So I was doing that and doing what passed for sales and looking after everything else. Um, so what I think the biggest thing I've learned over the years is that um, I'm only ostensibly in charge because I was here first, you know,
Mhm.
um, and I'm good at I'm good at a relatively small number of things, and sticking to those is really the secret for me, you know. Um, Hire good people and get out of their way, and I know that's a mantra that you hear, but it's absolutely it's been proven in my experience time after time, you know. Um, so yeah, so that's good, and also having a my business partner Ray came on board quite soon after the company was formed, and I know partnerships can often be tricky, but it's great having somebody. He's quite we're very alike in our mind in our general mindset, but we're quite different in the way we approach things. So it's brilliant having him, and we're very it's you know we after this long we just know we know what we're going to think about stuff. You know, I know what he's going to think about things, and vice versa, and I know what he's going to be looking after X and Y, and I'm going to be looking after Z and Q or whatever. You know, so yeah, so it's good. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Um, as we know in business, in it, as you said, in one of your answers as well, is that challenges come up as well.
Mhm.
What sort of challenges are you sort of facing within your industry at the moment, or are there any challenges?
I think the it's probably unusual. I don't know. I mean, I do speak to companies around Aberdeen who, and quite a few of them say that the last 3 years have actually been quite good for them. Um, and certainly, I think we've had the same experience. It's been, but before I'd say 5 6 years ago, I'd have said we are very much focused on the energy sector, with very little outside that sector. Um, but just after COVID, or just after lockdown, we started getting calls from companies that were really, a long way outside the energy sector, like food and drink, agriculture, facilities management. And what we realized was that the problems that companies have are the same, and the companies that were calling us knew that we had this experience in what is, it's quite a hostile, dangerous environment, the sea, the ocean, and we had that background, and we had a range of products that had been developed to meet that very demanding environment. So I think there was an appeal there, and we were able to quickly demonstrate that we understood the environment, and we understood the problems, and we had systems that would, you know, more or less meet those needs without any modification at all. So we were, yeah, very fortunate. And now I'd say I'd probably guess about 50-50. We've still got quite a few energy sector clients, big ones, and but we've got a real wide range of really very, very big companies, and a lot of the companies we deal with now I'd never heard of. They're just massive companies that you just day to day you just don't know, or companies that do something completely different to what you thought they did, or in addition to the thing that you thought they did. Um, so yeah, it's good. So challenges. I mean, no, it's we don't have any of the standard ones. We find it relatively. We don't have a massive team, so we're not constantly recruiting, so we don't have a massive problem with recruitment. The I think generally in the health and safety world, the people, our clients, if you like, are just so busy that it's difficult to get their attention. So sales, the sales cycle can be quite extended. So we just have to accept that. And obviously that means that we have to invest quite heavily in just keeping the wheels turning while these sales cycles work themselves through. So that can be challenging at times, but it wasn't a surprise after the first couple. We just realized that's just the way the market is. People aren't, and it's right that the things we're selling are important things. So you have to consider them and be sure that you're getting the right, the right tool for the job.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's it. So it's, I mean, I would say probably not so much challenges, but maybe opportunities really coming out of COVID,
Yeah, yeah, and that was actually going to be my next question, and you kind of
Aye.
answered that already. Um, and I think that's just your mindset, Pete. You've got such a positive mindset that with any
Yeah,
challenge comes an opportunity, and as you said there, not just energy sector, but it's then created other
yeah.
opportunities to work with other industries as well. So
Uh-huh.
that's incredible. That so um I would like to ask though, what's your sort of projection for the next 5 years then for opportunities then? Is it going to get even better then?
Yeah, I mean, it's just looking at what we're who we're talking to just now. There is a massive opportunity, really, globally. One of the one of the things we're also looking at is we've our product, if you like, we've got this brand called Pisces 360, which is really the group, the family of products that we sell. So we talk about Pisces 360, and the it's a you could think of it like a platform where all the products live on this platform so they can all talk to one another. So a client can come along and say, I only want this bit to work just now. But then later on, they might come back and say, well, I need my risk manager to talk to my permit to work system. And you can just have two systems that'll, they'll authenticate with each other and they'll exchange data with each other. So it's kind of moving away slightly from the big corporate systems that sometimes don't can be a little bit cumbersome and perhaps don't do everything very well. The things that you want to do very well, So what we're looking at is other things that we can bolt onto that platform, and we are getting quite a lot of you know, input from our client base about what comes next, So yeah, so I guess we'll be adding more products, um, increasing the reach. We are very international. We've got clients. We don't have so many locally now, as a percentage. I mean, it's quite Aberdeen's still important for us, but most of our customers are outside Aberdeen, and large percentage of them are outside the UK. So yeah, and we're also looking at trying to develop some of the team because historically we've got, it's a classic pretty flat structure. So as we get busier, we're kind of seeing the need to have some of the team maybe taking a more strategic role and making some of the more strategic decisions without Ray and I all,
Yeah.
doing it all. So yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I'd like to ask about inspirations then. Is there anyone or anything that inspires you today, or has there been anyone in the past that's really
Hmm.
been a good inspiration and sort of helped you on your business journey?
I think I'm very fortunate. I'm surrounded by, surrounded by a group of people who are very happy and they're doing very well, but they're not motivated by the things you'd expect people, business people, to be motivated by. And I like, I'm kind of inspired by them really because they're solid, great people, but they're also just more interesting. Um, so I get inspiration from lots of different places. Yeah, but again, it's community, really. That's in the end of the day, it's the community that you've got around you, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's been very good.
Community. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Love that answer. Love that. And thanks very much for sharing that. Yeah, and I think having the right people around you, without a doubt,
Yeah,
it really helps. And sounds like you've got a good community then. So
yeah.
brilliant. Brilliant. I've got a couple of questions I'd like to ask. Last one is in regards to business. Then so if you were to go back 36 years when I was Aardvark first formed, what advice would you give to Pete Henderson then?
Aye, yeah, right. So this could be a whole show. My mistakes. Yeah. Oh no, we've had some crackers. and I do often think, if you'd, uh, um, I have to restrict it to like a minute. You've got a minute with yourself, and you've got to just, what are the three things you must not do? And so I would say they probably all fall under the broad heading of stick to the knitting. Um, but yeah, don't develop an online food ordering service when your target customers don't have internet, but they have fax machines, and they sometimes switch the fax machines off when when orders are coming in. That's number one. That's not really they're not in order of severity or tragic consequences. They're just things. They're just in approximate order. Um, don't don't acquire a recruitment business, which we did, and we didn't. That wasn't very good for us because it's, again, nothing. It's not really our thing, but we did it. Um, and I'd say don't ever try to sell anything to schools. Um, we did have a quite a successful product which helped schools to track the performance of kids and produce their reports. But it was just so difficult to sell to schools. It was incredibly hard. So yeah. And then if we're talking in general, I would say um, when I was buying my first flat in Rosemount, I should have bought two and rented one out or just sat in it. And definitely buy shares in Microsoft. Yeah, that was probably taking me more than a minute or so to get across. But yeah, we've had quite a lot of well, not really disasters because we're still here, but yeah, we've made a few mistakes. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But you live and learn, as they
you
say. You
do.
know, you learn from those. And
You
I think
should.
I think I think a lot of it circumstantial. You know, you just didn't know at the time. Well, if
No,
we had a crystal ball, you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
then
That
yeah,
I think that's one of the things that I I say when people ask about the journey. I kind of say, well, I can superimpose a very structured story on this, but actually what it was is a whole lot of relatively random or lucky situations, When we weren't planning a long way ahead when we kicked this off, and a lot of it is just positioning yourself well to take advantage of things, to take advantage of opportunities.
yeah, yeah. I think that's great advice for anyone watching this who's then thinking of going into business for themselves. You know, position yourself well and take
Yeah,
advantage of opportunities.
yeah,
Absolutely, Pete. And yeah, that brilliant advice. Thank you very
yeah.
much for sharing. And my last question, have to ask about your fine collection there of instruments in the
Yeah.
background. You have to share. There's some. I see some bass, a bit of
Yeah,
electric guitar.
yeah.
Is that's a mandolin, isn't it?
The one, yeah, the one that's kind of I don't know what side of my head you're looking at, but the
It'll
one
be you're
there,
right.
yeah, that's a mandolin. Then two along from that is a mandola because that's just slightly bigger.
Ah,
Um,
right.
yeah, but basically, I mean, music's a big part of my life. I play in a church band. I played bass in a church band, and I played in a wee jazz band as well. But I also play Ceilidh in a Ceilidh band. So play mandolin there as well. So yeah, it's you certainly you absolutely can't make any money at it though. But I'd, yeah, we often just go out and do gigs for free just to play. So it's great. And I think it's something I've noticed with IT people. A lot of them are quite interested in music. There seems to be a connection there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, being in IT, it's also creative as well, and
Yeah,
also you then need to have that creative outlet. And I think music, playing in a band, music is very
yeah,
creative. So yeah, you need that. You need that
yeah,
creative outlet as well.
yeah. No, that's probably true actually. Yeah, yeah,
Excellent, Pete. I really appreciate you sharing your story with us today. There's been so many learnings and a lot that we could take away from this. So thank you so much, Pete. It's been an
yeah.
absolute pleasure having you on Business Spotlight. Thank you.
it's brought quite a few things to mind even as I've been talking. So I've learned a few things actually. So thank you for the opportunity.
Brilliant. We never stop learning, do we? We never stop
No.
learning. So brilliant. Thank you so much, Pete. And thank you very much for watching. You've been watching Business Spotlight. I'm Mark Hunter. You've had Pete Henderson of Pisy. And thank you very much again for watching. Bye now.